Good evening. I'm Mike DeFries. I'm an information officer on the Tamarack Fire. I'd like to welcome you to this update. We would like to pass along the latest information on the fire to you tonight, and also just give you an idea of the big picture of what's happening on the fire. We have fire suppression efforts that continue, but we also have suppression repair work that's being done, and you're going to learn a lot more about that tonight. And there's also a great effort underway to look at some of the potential long-term damage that was done by the fire and what can be done to mitigate any future possible damages. That's through the Burned Area Emergency Response Team. Tonight we're going to start with our Incident Commander, Scott Stevenson.
Good evening. The Sierra Front team took command of this fire on Monday at 7 o'clock in the evening from the Rocky Mountain Type 1 team. We are the Sierra Front team, and we are made up of professionals from this area, the Sierra Front. I live in Gardnerville, and this is in my backyard, so this fire means a lot to me. We are finding areas of concern after having boots on the ground for several days, and with the hotter and drier conditions and with the wind coming up. We are addressing that. My operations chief will talk to that. We're also addressing the repair from this fire, and that you have folks here tonight to talk to you about that. I'm proud to be here with my team. My team is proud to be here to serve the communities of Douglas and Alpine County. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Chris Mason, Operations Section Chief. I'm here to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing here on the fire since we've taken it over. I'm going to start with our division Kilo that's in this part on the northwest side of the fire. We have currently 2 hand crews working in that area in conjunction with helicopters. They're working to improve this fire line that's in here and taking out any trees that are concerns to us or any hot spots that seem to be popping up. With the higher drier weather that we're getting, we're starting to see a little bit more fire activity as everything dries out. Moving on from Division Kilo, we're going to go into Division Oscar. Division Oscar is on the north end of the fire, and it is also being patrolled by a couple of engines, and they are improving the fire line and taking care of any hot spots that we're finding in Spring Valley and Holbrook around the houses that are in that area. Moving down to the south end of our fire, we have Division Quebec. Division Quebec probably holds the most heat for our fire right now. It's taking the most wind, and it's the driest part of our fire. So we're finding a lot of smokes along the edge. We do have fire line that we are improving on, working with helicopters to mitigate any problems that we have in here. We have 2 hand crew, actually 3 hand crew teams in here and 2 engines. We've also set up a spike camp up here for those folks so we can support them better to do their job. And then moving over to Division Alpha. In Division Alpha, we have a wildfire module that is in there working to secure this line. This line here is in very rugged country, very steep drop-offs. They're up on a rim, and as fire creeps its way up, they'll go ahead and take care of that. We're not sending crews into here because of the danger that area poses to our crews. This fire module has cameras that they're able to look down on the fire and see the fire behavior that's happening, and allowing us to respond to any pieces of fire that we need to mitigate. That's our overview of the Tamarack Fire.
Hello, I'm Courtney Rowe. I'm the lead resource advisor for the Tamarack Fire, and I am helping all of our fire resources work on a couple of things. Hazard tree mitigation. We still have a large amount of hazard trees there that present a risk to the firefighters and the public. So if you start to see heavy equipment moving in and you're saying, well, the fire is over, actually what we're trying to do is address those hazard trees to make sure we can provide for firefighter safety. The other thing we're working with our firefighter resources to do is to repair some of the damage that may be caused during suppression. During suppression, we built approximately 31 miles of dozer line, which is actually a fairly small amount for a fire of this size. But what we're doing is making sure that what we call is repair that line. So eliminate the line, obliterate it, or address and put water bars on it, put berms over it, to make sure that any hydrological impacts or erosion associated with those lines are mitigated. So there are crews and heavy equipment currently underway. We're working on that work, and a lot of the focus has been in the Holbrook and Spring Valley area, as well as around our communities of Woodfords and Markleyville. And we're hoping that we will be through that repair work in a short order, and making sure we've addressed the watershed impacts from the suppression actions themselves.
Hello, I'm Kendal Young. I'm the Natural Resource and Planning Staff Officer on the Humboldt-Twalby National Forest, and I'm the BAER team lead for the Forest Service. So BAER stands for Burned Area Emergency Response, and our authority is primarily up into the National Forest System lands. What we do is we take a look at some of those post-fire effects to critical values, and critical values such as human health and safety, natural resources, property, as well as cultural resources. And through that process, it's really founded through edaphic type of surveys such as soil burn severity, hydrologic function or response post-fire, as well as some debris flow modeling and that kind of information. Now that information is actually conducted across the entire fire area, so not just on national forest lands. And we work really closely with all of our partners, including BLM, BIA, NRCS, to develop a plan to mitigate the effects of post-fire response across this area. We have just started this process, and we hope to get some information out to the public here in the short term within this area.
Thank you, Kendal. Our BLM representative, Paul Fuselier, could not be here tonight, so just a short while ago, he recorded a video message, and we'll play that now.
Good evening. I'm Paul Fuselier, the agency administrator on this fire, and I'll also be leading the development of an emergency stabilization and rehabilitation plan for the public lands managed by the Bureau of Land Management. I'm looking forward to working with the multiple agencies, communities, and locals in developing a plan that addresses the critical actions needed to protect life, critical infrastructure, restore lands and habitats damaged by the fire, and rebuilding the Indian Creek campground. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Josh Nicholes. I'm the agency administrator here for the Forest Service on the Tamarack Fire. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciate all of the community support for our fire resources while we work to get this situation under control, as well as acknowledge all the fantastic work by our fire resources to get this fire wrapped up as quickly as possible, and all of the great cooperation with our partners and stakeholders. We're looking forward to keeping the communities engaged during the suppression repair and the BAER processes, and ultimately working with you towards post-fire restoration. So our intent is always to provide for the best firefighter and public safety possible, and we appreciate everybody's patience while we continue to ensure that this fire is put out successfully and safely. Thank you.
Good evening again. I'd just like to reiterate the fact that we will be here at least for the next couple weeks, my team addressing every aspect of this fire with all the cooperators that we do have here. If you have any questions, please reach out to our PIOs. Thank you again.
Thank you, Scott. And just a reminder, we are continuing to put content out on our Facebook page. We're on INSEWeb as well. We've got links in the chat. We're doing daily updates, and we've got phone lines. So we'll continue to keep you updated on social media, through our information boards, and with daily updates on this fire. Thank you very much for joining us.